So help me welcome our speakers. We've got Hannah Clark. She's the marketing director at Mass Marketing, and we have Gilad Ariel. He's the customer success lead at Powtoon. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. The session is all yours.
Thank you
Perfect.
so much for having us.
Thanks for having us, Casey. Yeah. So I'm going to start with sharing my screen and then we will dive into it. So you should be able to see my screen here. Yeah.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
we've got it.
Got it. Awesome. So, hi everyone. Welcome to today's session when marketing meets L&D, the video strategy your learning deserves. As Casey mentioned, I'm Gilad Ariel and I'm from Powtoon. For those of you who don't know Powtoon, Powtoon is a unified AI video platform that lets anyone effortlessly create professional grade videos. And I'm here with the brilliant Hannah Clark from Mass Marketing, as Casey mentioned. Do you want to say a few words, Hannah?
Of course. Hello, everybody. It's lovely to be here this evening for us in the UK. I know we've got a really global audience here. So, I am the marketing director at Mass Marketing. And for those of you that don't know, we are the only agency in the world dedicated to the world of L&D. We are trained marketing professionals that help learning and development professionals pick up our skills and our tactics to actually get people learning because that's what we all want, right? So that's our business. And if anyone's on LinkedIn at all, we are the crazy people with the pineapples. But you are lucky today, we're in Powtoon branding.
Love the pineapples. Yeah, today we're excited to explore a big idea with you. So what if video in L&D wasn't just for delivering content, but for actually driving engagement? Today, we're going to show you how video can be used to spark attention, improve retention, and promote your learning programs so they get the traction they deserve. Um, a little bit more about me. I work closely with L&D teams around the world who are using Powtoon to reimagine how they deliver and scale learning with video. And Hannah brings deep expertise in applying marketing strategies to L&D, helping teams shift from build it and then they'll come to build it and make sure they know about it, which is obviously a massive difference. So what's your biggest challenge? Let's start with a quick reflection. What's your biggest challenge right now in learning and development? Is it engagement? Is it completion rates? Is it proving value? Whatever comes to mind, it likely connects back to one thing: how you're delivering and promoting your learning. That's what we're going to unpack together today. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Hannah. Oh, I'm flicking.
Go on, one side ahead. There we go. I'm seeing all the messages coming through, and we've got completion rates, completion, accessibility and inclusion, engagement and value, proving the value to both the learners and the stakeholders. And all of this stuff we are going to overcome today. And really, what most of this boils back to is the field of dreams fallacy. It's a great movie quote. Build it and they will come. It sounds incredible. That is not how it works for learning and development. One example I always love to give, it's an analogy, is imagine if Tesla did this. They created their cars and they knew that it was high spec, it was brilliant, and they put it in a nondescript showroom in some random town somewhere in the world and didn't do anything else. They were just waiting for someone to stumble across the showroom, have the right amount of money, have the right will and want to buy that car. Would they have sold many cars? The answer's no. And that's what we're doing in L&D. We're creating pretty decent content. On the most part, I know L&D pros put a lot of time and energy into the content and experiences we create. But we're missing that piece of actually getting people to the learning. And then we end up in this never ending cycle of buying content. Sorry, Gilad, next slide. Of buying content or learning platforms or tools, building out experiences, uploading them to the learning platform. And then our engagement falls short. People aren't taking it. They're not going to the platform. They're not using our content. So we go back to the drawing board, which typically takes us to buying new content or learning platforms or tech. And then we go around this again and again and again. And this never ending loop means we're never actually solving this engagement problem. And no matter how you word it, making learning attractive, I can see from Maxine in the chat at the moment, engagement and value from Esna. These things all come back to getting people to want to learn. And that's where our problems really come down to two things. Sometimes we have poor learning content. We have disappointing content that people don't really want to get involved with. And often, and I'd say in a solid 90% of instances, we don't market our learning content. We don't drive people to it. And video is a really great way of solving both of these issues, of elevating your learning content and marketing it.
That's it. So let's talk about the format we use. Studies show that learners retain 95% of a message when they watch it on video, compared to just a mere 10% when reading it. That's just, obviously, it's not just a stat, that's a strategy, right? If we want learning to stick, we have to start using formats that work with the brain and not against it, right? We don't want to force people to read. So video isn't just a nice to have, it's a retention tool. Hannah?
You want me to do this? Cool. So with video, what we need to think about is how we can really utilize the video we see in our daily life. Let's think about the world around us. If you've picked up your phone already today, how many videos have you seen? How many scrolls did you do on TikTok? I won't get a raise of hands for that. I know we all like TikTok as our dirty little secret. How many videos have you watched on Facebook or Instagram? Did you turn on the TV this morning? Have you watched a video on a website? Video is all around us and it hooks us in. It gets us watching it. We want to watch more and more and more. And what we need to do in learning when we are creating video content for our learning content is imitate that. There's a reason why we binge watch Netflix. We watch one episode after the next, after the next. I'll hold my hands up. That was me last night. I absolutely stayed up far past my bedtime because I just wanted to watch one more episode. Because the script writers and the editors and the directors had designed it in such a way that I wanted to watch the next piece. We need to pick that up from those sources and apply it to learning. Why can't you have a compelling trailer for your next learning program? Why can't you make people want more at the end of a video? Nudge them towards that next piece of learning content. When we are using video in our learning, we have to learn from, and of course, in some respects, imitate the world around us that we see.
So let's talk about why video works so well, right? One word is a story, right? Video lets you turn your learning into a narrative. Even in a 60-second micro learning piece or bite-sized video, people remember stories. We remember emotions, arcs, characters. That's how we process information. That's how we connect. Now, if you want your learning to land, make it a story your learners can actually see themselves in. A way to elevate this is making it personal. So how we do the personalization within video with Powtoon is that you can create content using customizable avatars, these realistic avatars that you see on the screen, or animated characters. You can represent your people, your learners, your culture. It doesn't just look better, it feels more human and is obviously more relatable. And when learners see themselves reflected in your content, they're more likely to pay attention and more likely to act. Now, what I'd like to do is show you just a glimpse of Powtoon and show you how easy it is to kind of bring these videos to life. So what I'm going to do is just grab my screen from here. Fantastic. So you should be able to see my Powtoon screen. Awesome. So this is the homepage. There are different ways you can start creating your videos, but obviously being mindful of time, I will take a template, right? So here we have a library of customizable templates. There are, as you can see, there are different types of styles of characters that you can use, different types of individuals that represent the brand, that resonate with the audience. We have these realistic avatars, for example.
Health and safety regulations at company.
Right, so this is a template, so there's no company name. You can easily kind of drop your company name in that. So this is one example how you can have a professional presenter. But what I do, me personally, resonates with me is the animated characters, right? Because you can personalize them. I'm just going to take this Meet Kate template. It's one of our most popular templates because it explains, well, the story of Kate and, you know, the struggle she faces in her work. So first of all, I don't know if this is a type of character that would resonate with you or with other audiences. You can see we've got a faceless character, sort of non-realistic gray skin. So what resonates with me and with the customers that I work with a lot of the times is the more realistic type. So what I'm going to do is edit the character, right? So let's edit this character together. If I go right back to the basics, well, obviously we've got different diverse and inclusive characters, the females, the non-gender specific or non-binary characters, the male and the child characters. So the different kind of basics and different presets that you can choose from, but everything is fully customizable. Maybe let's go with, as I said, more realistic type. Here we go. So we have, again, you have complete flexibility to make sure that if you're looking to brand your characters or have them on brand in terms of the colors, you can do that. So these are the Powtoon colors. You can change, again, I prefer the more realistic. So let's go for the more realistic skin. Face, you can customize the face and really, really represent your audience, right? And create someone from within the audience. Hair, I mean, she has really cool hair at the moment, but you can see how you can change the hair, change the color. Maybe we go a bit crazy with the hair. You can change the eyes, the eyebrow shape. So you see you've got the more anime look. As I said, I prefer the more realistic. Let's update the eyes to beautiful blue eyes there. Nose, different types of noses, mouth. And then the outfit. Now, when it comes to the outfit, you have the option to brand your characters. Again, this is something that is really important when it comes to the brand voice, and you want to make sure that it is consistent. So maybe let's go and add a top like here. I'm going to add a Powtoon logo. Why not? So here's our Powtoon logo. Simple as that. I will save the logo and we have our branded character. And this is something that you can do with your organizations as well. There are different tops, different bottoms. Again, for different use cases, we've got the baseball, we've got the astronaut, all sorts of things in here for you to choose from. Different types of footwear, headwear. Headwear is important, again, for diversity and inclusivity. You want to make sure that it does resonate with your audience. So there are different head coverings for different cultures and elements like that, different helmets, I don't know, swim caps, different accessories. Mask, COVID mask was popular during COVID. Earrings. And when you're done, click on finish and you have your branded character, right? So I'm just going to call her T for now. Click on save and give it a few seconds. And T is going to replace Kate. Now, there, simple as that, I might want to attach a voiceover to have Kate tell a story. But in this case, I might just use a narrator in the background. So I'm going to go to the voiceover, click on audio, text to speech, or our AI text to speech is the most popular because you can really find various different languages for different localization purposes, different accents for different purposes, so you can filter it. I mean, I won't get into it, even though I do find myself deep diving into the platform and focusing on that, but we will talk about other stuff as well. So let's take, for example, Alexis.
Hi, I'm experiencing issues with my internet. I'd like to schedule a technician, please. Thank you for your assistance.
So if Alexis resonates with your audience, then you can use Alexis or Alison.
In this training video, discover best practices for enhancing
different styles. Just type in the text. We do have a script writer, so it will generate the script for you, but just being mindful of time, I'm going to type in just a very small amount of text. So let's just go, meet Kate, just like you, she's an L&D specialist. Struggling with, I don't know, engagement, right? Driving engagement. Let's generate the voice here. Give it a few seconds.
Meet Kate. Just like you, she's an L&D specialist.
Right, save the voiceover. I'm going to add it just to this slide. Auto reduce the soundtrack volume, and here we have our first slide. Few seconds to load. Ooh. Of course. Let's do this again. Should let me do a quick refresh here.
Technology is not on our side today, is it, guys?
Of course, it happens in that way. Okay. Wow. Okay. This doesn't generally happen. Let's have a look. Okay, we'll come back to it. But the idea is that you can personalize your videos, and that is really, really important to drive engagement. I'm going to go back to our presentation here. Fantastic. And let's talk about the dual code thing. Go ahead.
Absolutely. So why does video work? So we've seen how great and how easy it is to create videos in Powtoon. As someone that creates videos for both learning and marketing, I personally love Powtoon. That's why we've partnered up with them. But the reason video works so well, particularly in a learning context, but in all contexts, is this thing called dual coding theory. Now, when you're watching a video, your brain isn't just seeing words. It's not just hearing sound. It's doing both of them at once. So we have two lots of stimuli coming in, and it's enlightening two of our senses, our sight and our hearing, which is triggering two sides of our working memory, our non-verbal processing and our verbal processing. And it said that when the two of these work together, we are more likely to put something into our knowledge, into our long-term memory, and remember it. Now, I know remembering things isn't the be-all and end-all of learning, but to truly learn something, we have to remember it. We have to absorb that knowledge. So the dual coding theory is why video works so well. Now, this is a very simplistic diagram, and of course we know we have more than two senses, so there are different ways that we can use multiple senses. But when it comes to video, the fact that you're hearing something, you're seeing something move, it's telling a story, it's triggering our senses in a way that an image on its own, a piece of text on its own, anything static and singular would not. So by helping our people, whether it's from a marketing purpose or a learning purpose, remember things, they are more likely to act on it. In a marketing instance, they're more likely to do the thing we want them to do. So for all of us on this call, It's to get them to actually do the learning. For brands like Coca-Cola, it's to get you to buy some Coca-Cola products. It gets people, it sticks in their long-term memory, and it gets people to want to utilize the brand. And from a learning point of view, it's getting them to remember it so that they can apply the things they've learned. And this is why video is such a great way to nudge people down the decision-making journey. Now, for those of you that haven't seen this, this is a model that I've absolutely stolen from marketing. You might have heard Ada spoken about in your marketing teams before. And it all starts with awareness. And this is where most of your audience will be sitting. They'll be aware that you guys exist. Maybe they've done an induction training. Maybe they've done some compliance training. They know that learning exists within the business. They are aware of it, but they aren't acting on it of their own free will. They just know it's there. Our first step to getting them to actually take the learning is making them interested in the learning. Making them go, what's that about? They're still not taking action. They're still not doing anything, but they're a little bit curious. Once they're curious and they're interested in what we're doing, we then have to make them desire it. And that's when they are really reaching out and going, okay, I really need to know about this topic. I can see the tangible benefits this is going to have on my working life. It's only after that point that they'll go to action and actually do the learning that we want them to do. And of course, after that, we want them coming back time and time again, don't we? We don't want people to do one course that we've created and then never come back to the L&D team. So we need to make them loyal advocates of our offering. And using video at each step of this decision-making journey is a great way to really cement in what our brand is. What does L&D stand for? Why should they care? So when it comes to using video within your marketing for learning, it is a fantastic way to grab attention from a time-poor audience. We are all time poor, aren't we? In L&D, we all struggle with time. But we all spend time watching Netflix series, and we all spend time scrolling on TikTok, and we all spend time watching videos on LinkedIn. It's because they grab our attention. They stop us in our tracks. So video is a great way to do that to your audience. But it also makes them want to learn. Rather than just saying, hey, there's a new course in the LMS, go and take it. We're saying to them, this is what's in it for you. This is why you should come and get involved. This isn't a piece of compliance training. This is keeping you safe. This isn't leadership training. This is solving that argument that 2 members of your team had last week. We're contextualizing it for them, and we're bringing it to life, especially if we're using tools like Powtoon, where we can create those avatars, especially the AI avatars that are so human. And the lip sync on there, I've seen somebody ask about the lip sync. It's phenomenal. I've used a lot of these platforms, and genuinely in Powtoon, it's so good. Integrating that storytelling piece in your marketing to get people to the learning is so impactful. And then the last way that I really encourage you to use video within your marketing for learning is through influencer videos. Now, you can edit in influencer videos within Powtoon, but this really brings the human element in. I want you to get your learners to grab their phones. We've all got smartphones now, and record selfie videos. Say why they enjoyed the program. What did they get from it? How might it help others? How has it helped them? Because the truth is, your audience will believe their colleagues more than they'll ever believe you. You've got a vested interest in trying to get them to learn. So of course you're going to say it's great. Of course you're going to say it's compelling. Of course you're going to say it solves all of their problems. If they hear it from a colleague, they're more likely to believe it. And the perfect influencer within your organization is someone that people know, maybe admire, maybe aspire to be like. That maybe they're more senior, or maybe someone that's got a real story, or maybe just someone that's very charismatic. But also they need to have authority on the topic. You can't pick somebody within your organization that has absolutely never logged into your learning platform, has absolutely never completed a piece of learning with you, and get them to create a video. It needs to be real and it needs to be authentic. But influencer videos, and I know I probably shouldn't be biased around the tactics, influencer videos are some of the biggest impact I've had with my internal communications campaigns that I've done with clients, because people want to see people. So when we think back to that decision-making journey and we think about sparking interest and intrigue in our audiences, we can do that through things like trailers for our learning. Maybe we can do it through really compelling aspirational videos. When we're thinking about creating desire, we can utilize video to tell a story, just like Gilad showed us with the characters and all of the pre-planned templates in Powtoon. We can tell a story that really captures them. For those in the UK, and I know there's only a few, John Lewis Christmas adverts always come to mind. For those that aren't in the UK, John Lewis is a big department store here in the UK, and every year they put out the most emotive, emotional advert on the TV. It has very, very little to do with their store, but everyone's talking about it, and it tugs on the heartstrings, and everyone thinks of John Lewis and Christmas hand in hand. We can imitate those kind of adverts and trailers and even some of that cliffhanger style from Netflix and other streaming services to really nudge people down the funnel. And when it comes to loyalty, you can use influencer videos in two ways. You can use the influencer video to get somebody to be loyal, get to hook them in. Can you be an influencer for me? I know you've just completed this program. Do you mind creating this video? There's a little bit of ego in everybody that might go, oh, I'm special. I got chosen. It will make them remember you more. But also you can use your influencer videos to keep people loyal, to make them want to do the training. Really injecting that human element into our videos is so, so important. And I've gone over this slide, Gilad. So on to the next one for you.
Fantastic. Yes. So yeah, let's break it down. What actually makes video work? Here's what we see across the best L&D teams. In the first instance, it's the purpose. What do you want learners to do after watching, right? And Hannah touched upon this as well. The second is the hook, right? You've got 5 seconds to grab attention or you lose them. And this is a tricky part of what we do, right? When creating content for training or for any piece of content or marketing, right? When you're marketing your content, it's the first initial 5 seconds. It's so important to grab their attention with the hook. The third is the format. So choose what fits, whether it's micro-learning or a teaser, a scenario, an explainer. So many different diverse options of formats. The best videos don't just deliver information, right? Aren't just informative and piled with information. They're built to move people, right? And Hannah touched upon it with the John Lewis commercial, right? It's less about, John Lewis themselves and the products that they sell. It's more about how we're going to move the people and get emotional connection. So how do we get people hooked, right? Video captures attention because it feels alive, right? It creates intrigue, energy, and a sense of immediacy as well. And the moment someone is curious, you've already won half the battle, right? That is, curiosity is the key here. That's what we want from learning. Not just completion, but connection, right? It's not about only completing the training. Now, I do want to show you a case study here from Bank United. Here is basically what it looks like in action. Bank United used Powtoon to transform how they onboard, train, and engage their employees. They replaced what used to be dense slide decks with short animated videos, animated sort of video explainers tailored to their tone, their brand, and their culture. This wasn't just about the aesthetics, right? It was about effectiveness. The result is faster onboarding, better understanding of complex policies, and stronger engagement across the business. Now, when your learning content is visual, clear, and built for attention, people actually want to complete it, right? It doesn't feel like a task. They want to actually continue. Let's see a taster. You know what? There's nothing like a video to show exactly what we're referring to.
You're now tuning into the Go For More Academy radio station with a special event for today's listeners called What's in It For You. Listen along, everyone, as we dive into some amazing programs that we have to offer. I guarantee you'll find it. Let's take a look at the variety of channels.
Meet our team. Personal and professional. Empowerment. Go for more schools. Consumer and small business. Thank you for tuning into the Go For More Academy Radio with our special broadcast for today of What's in It For You. Stay tuned for more and exciting news from your favorite radio station.
First of all, I love the soundtrack, but how awesome is that? Non-professional designers, the team of Bank United, are able to create these videos for their needs. So before we wrap up, what I want to do is launch a poll. It should come up on your screen soon, Casey.
There we go.
There we go. So we're going to just take 20 seconds, 30 seconds just to answer.
I really want to see how many people say no.
True. Should be able.
And there was a question in the chat while you were showing that, Gilad, about whether that video from Bank United, was that training or was that a teaser to get people to go and do the training? What context was that used in? Do you know?
Yeah, so it's sort of a mixture, really. It was quite informative, as you might have seen in terms of the text on there. But it is essentially just to as a teaser. It's not, there's not enough information for it to be essentially a training.
Yeah.
But that's a great question. It's okay. So let's do this.
6% of people said they're happy with no impact or engagement, Gilad.
Okay, wow. Surprising. But let's go back to our deck here. Should be able to just scroll now. This pops up here. Okay, I'm gonna exit this. There we go. Let's go back here. Okay, so there are three big takeaways from today's session. Video drives retention and engagement, the two hardest things in L&D. The second is you want to make sure that it's visual. You make it personal, make it story-driven. And the third, don't just think of video as content, think of it as a strategy, right? You want to use video for your learning in that sense. I think we're ready to dive into the questions. Let's check out some of the questions.
There's a lot there as well, Gilad.
That. Okay. So I can see we've got, are they in the chat?
So, do you want me to read the first one out and answer it while we're at it?
Yeah, go ahead.
The first question on the Q&A is, for organizations without a strong marketing culture, how can L&D teams start marketing their learning without budget or buy-in? So this is a question I get a lot. And the truth is, marketing can be done on a shoestring budget, as in the tools you're already using, the things you're already doing. We all market our learning to an extent, right? If you launch something, you send out an email. You tell people that it's there. Instead of just sending that email that says, hey, there's a new course on the LMS, think about the subject line. Think about the content. Think about how you're hooking people in to the learning. How are you making them want to get involved? Think about the way you write copy, the way you use visuals to hook them in. You can do all of this with the tools that we're currently using as learning designers or learning professionals. You can use PowerPoint and your normal email platform to make an email look really compelling. So as much as sometimes when you're thinking about marketing, you're thinking big budgets and big bang and whizzy and exciting, actually you can do it on a really small budget. If you want to learn more about how to get started with marketing for learning, if you go on to the Mass Marketing website, we've got loads of free resources and guides for you that you can get stuck into. Our whole ethos is about training people to do it and not having to spend big money on marketing for learning. So that will answer your question there. I'm sorry you've come through as anonymous, so I can't say your name, but hopefully that will help you. So, have you got the questions up now, Gilad?
Yeah. I think, okay. So what's one mistake you often see L&D teams make when they start using video, and how can we avoid it? It's a brilliant question, right? A lot of the times people treat, especially those who aren't professional designers or instructional designers, they treat videos as presentations. And then a lot of the times there's a big a problem with overwhelming with text right? You don't want to do that. You want to make sure that there isn't too much on the screen as well. There's each scene, as we call it at Powtoon, or each slide, and Powtoon is structured in that way, right? It's simplified and not too many items, right? So a lot of the times people start using Powtoon, there's a lot of props that they throw in there, multicolored. Here, with the example we showed with Back United, it's consistently, there are a lot of colors, but it's consistent with their brand. It's something that it's the same font that they use. So there are all these elements that you want to make sure there is consistency throughout. And this won't overwhelm the audience that is watching the video. It will be easy to digest. Hope that answers your.
And I think also, if I add to that a little bit, Gilad,
Yeah, sure.
it's really important when you're doing either learning or marketing internally. So you're working within your organization. I'm assuming most people on this call are L&D professionals within an organization. Make it look like it's from the organization. Like you said, that one, the example you showed, Bank United, that was on brand for their branding. If you go a bit crazy and just use all the colors and different elements that you can possibly get in Powtoon and push out a video that looks not on brand, people will be watching it thinking, what is this? They won't be taking in the content. They won't be taking in the teaser or the trailer you're giving them or the learning content you want to give them, because they'll be spending so much time trying to process, who on earth has sent me this video? Why has this stopped me in my tracks? So branding is really, really important. And that's actually my answer to where most L&D professionals go wrong. They get a bit too excited, and I know it's easy, I do it too, but we need to make sure that we stick to our brands and we reflect the business that we work in.
Brilliant. Brilliant. I've got a question from Nicole here. Quite a statistic comparing video to video in memory retention.
So she did put another question, video to text. It was that stat with the 95%.
Yeah. So where did that stat come from? That's let me get back to you, Nicole, on that. I'll speak to the marketing team. Good question, what the source is. And where how they drew that conclusion. Yeah, let me get back to you, Nicole. You can email me. Let me drop my email in the chat as well, so you have that. In the meantime, maybe we can go to the next question, Hannah.
Yep. So the next question is, are there types of learning content you wouldn't recommend using video for? And in this question, I must say I give quite a politician's answer, because it really depends on your audience and the need of the learning. If your audience is always on video, maybe actually they're overwhelmed with video, so you don't want to use video anymore. I actually worked with the team at TikTok at one point, and I thought, oh, this is going to be so fun. I can create TikTok videos. And actually they were like, I never want to see another video again. So you have to think about your audience. You have to think about the purpose. As much as I'm advocating for video being a fantastic channel and tool to build learning with and to market with, I'm a huge advocate of actually solving the problem first and then coming up with how you're going to do that. So what is the problem? What are you trying to fix? What's the best tool to fix it with? And video is a really compelling way to do that if you're going to do it digitally. So that's my politician's answer on when wouldn't I recommend using video.
I like it. I think well, from the clients that I work with, from kind of big enterprise organizations, they generally well, there's sort of a combination of it, right? So there's a combination of some static reading, but if they throw in some videos in there into the mix, again, first of all, to shake things up a bit, wake them up, but also to make sure that knowledge is retained. And I think a lot of the times people learn in different ways, but video is there to give you, especially bite-sized video, in my opinion, the micro-learning aspects. It's short, concise, clear, and there's a lot of information you can fit within a video as opposed to the written script. So yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of ways you can combine in learning for sure, but yeah. How you mentioned imitating the world around us. Can you share examples of non-learning content L&D teams should be drawing inspiration from? Great question.
If I had to answer it in one sentence, I would say absolutely everything you see in your waking life. You can use it as good things to get inspiration from, or actually, I never want to do that, so I'm not going to get inspiration from it. I think real things that you can tangibly look at things like Instagram videos, TikTok videos, things like that. If you look at them, they start with a hook and they get straight into the content and straight into the point. And that's what we need to be getting inspiration from with that bite-sized micro learning videos. If you're thinking about something that's a trailer and a teaser, look at a series you've loved and look at the trailer for it. What have they showed? Well, they've shown you the highlights, but not too much to make you not want to do it. So you can get inspiration from them. How have they pieced that together so that it's left you wanting more? How do cliffhangers work to make you want to do more? So look at the world around you. And again, this doesn't just go for video. Look at adverts. How do they answer the what's in it for me? How can you mimic that in what you're doing in your learning content, whether that is marketing your learning content or actually creating the content? What works in the world? Think about the things that really grab your attention on a day-to-day basis and think about how you can replicate that on a learning scale.
Brilliant. We've got a question from Timur. How Powtoon is better than Beyond? Oh, good question. So there are similar platforms for those who are familiar with Beyond as well. The key differences that we hear from customers that have transitioned or using both actually is the different styles, right? So when it comes to the different visual styles of characters, a lot of the times when people watch a Vyond, they can identify it's a Vyond video, as opposed to with Powtoon, because of the diversity of styles, it's not as clear and you can really personalize it depending on the organization. And there are other elements. They both leverage AI. Definitely check it out. Timur, I'm happy to send you also some information on that. I dropped my email in the chat there. Okay, anonymous attendee. I'm working in a financial institution and I am responsible for developing mandatory training content required by the central banks. I struggle a lot to get 100% completion rate.
Wow, that's a big question, isn't it?
Like
how, like it's not only is it mandatory training, it's in financial institutions that you've got a tough job there. And I think, look, 100%, I know you need it for compliance, but that is like the highest you could possibly be striving for. But I think, in my experience and in my opinion, it does come back to, again, working out why that individual, the end user, actually cares. Why would they bother doing it? Other than the fact it ticks a box and it stops them getting in trouble. If the mandatory training is about compliance in some way, what happens or what could happen if they didn't oblige to the compliance training they're doing? Video is a really great way to get this across. I worked with a company quite a few years ago now that actually created a whole trailer about anti-money laundering and bribery. And it was like, what happens? It's the choice. And it was a really, really compelling video. And I'll try to dig it out. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, I can send you the link to it. Creating that almost suspense and then saying, this is what would happen if you didn't do what we're telling you to do. So rather than just saying, hey, this is a mandatory course, go take it, you're saying, this is what happens if you don't learn this stuff. It's answering the what's in it for me again. So I think that's a real key focus that I think when it comes to mandatory or compliance training, we often just go, it's compliance, take this course. And actually, we need to give it the same love when it comes to marketing it as our other learning offerings.
Definitely. I don't know if the anonymous attendee, are you using video within your compliance training? Is that the key? So 100% completion rate of the video, but how long is the video? I think is a good question. A lot of the times there, it's just overwhelming, especially, what's the PC way of saying it? Maybe dry content. Let's say dry content. A lot of the times that is a challenging one, like Hannah mentioned as well. But yeah, I guess we need to see the content, but I think just shorten. If it's a very, very long video, just break it down into a playlist. A lot of the times that is also helpful. So another anonymous attendee, what is the lip syncing like for avatars? I find it challenging with other platforms. So it's pretty simple. So you basically add a text to speech, generate the lip sync, and it syncs. Takes a couple of minutes and it syncs.
And it actually looks really good as well. As somebody that doesn't work for Powtoon, I have to say, I've said it already in the chat. That was one thing that was like, oh, that does look really good when I first started using Powtoon. So not only is it really easy, it actually looks good. It's not just generic mouth movements.
Exactly, yeah. Brilliant. Can you share examples of how organizations are using avatars or characters to make compliance or policy training more engaging? Sure, I can share some examples. I'm just being mindful of time. So maybe just send me an email, this anonymous attendee, and I'll share some examples. Of course, we have a lot of examples for that case, that use case. How do you recommend using teaser videos or pre-launch content to generate excitement around a new learning program? So when you say how do you recommend using videos,
I think there's been quite a few questions about this in the chat, and correct me if I'm wrong, anonymous attendee, but I think you're actually talking about like how we disseminate the video. So you've got the video, then what do we do with it? It's great to have the video, but how do we actually use it to generate that excitement? And my answer is stop your audience in their tracks. Whether that's quite physically in an office, say you've got that video, the example you showed us, Gilad, if that was going around on a screen in the office, I'd stop and watch it because it's movement. And okay, you probably can't have the audio on in the office, but the difference and like it literally would grab your attention. If you've not got a physical space or you want to do it digitally, posting those videos on things like Teams, Slack, your intranet, that's going to grab somebody's attention much quicker and much faster than just saying, hey, there's a new course, it's about leadership, and a bunch of text. Like we've already said, people pay attention to video. So try to stop your audience in their tracks. That does undertake quite a lot of understanding about your audience, understanding where they hang out, the kind of things they do, what they care about, how to really stop them in their tracks. But putting these videos out there in places where people are going to stop and watch because the beginning of it has hooked them in. So you want to make sure that, like in that example you showed us, Gilad, there's a lot of movement and a lot of animation, and a video that just has static text on it may as well not be a video. So make sure you're really using the templates and the tools available to you, especially if you're using Powtoon. There's no excuse to not create a really compelling video. Use them to quite physically make somebody stop and go, oh, what's that? That's what you're trying to do. So you need to put them in the places that they're already hanging out for you to then stop them in their tracks.
Definitely. I want to also add on top of that, it's like exactly, it really depends on how your audience is communicating at the moment. If it's Slack, fantastic. If it's Teams, brilliant. Just put it on there. If that's how you communicate, if you communicate via email, a lot of the times we have people that are using email to send this. It's getting lost in the emails. But if that is how you communicate within your organization, then what you can do is create a GIF within Powtoon, right? So create a GIF, hyperlink it to the video. You can have the GIF in the body of an email, very easy and simple to do, and definitely attention grabber. So yeah, it really depends where they hang out. Are there any stats/research you can share that show the effectiveness of avatars? Do people like it? Yes, I do. I can share with you. Just send me an email as well. You have my email address, and I'll share with you the stats. But generally, yeah, I mean, it is just effective because it's personal, right? So you have that professional presenter that a lot of the times is wearing the same attire that you wear in a business, or we have a cloning capability as well. So you'll be able to clone existing employees. A lot of the times it's like senior leaders that it takes a lot to get them in the studio and record them their message for example, onboarding new employees. So having an avatar with their voice makes it very easy and personal as well. But yeah, anonymous attendee, send me an email. I will get back to you with those statistics. Jeff Bennett. Social media has a scrolling element that can set up video to hook consumer attention. LMS platforms and corporate communication systems don't necessarily have the same format. How do we get learners' attention to watch video without the same social format?
So, with my marketing hat on,
Yes.
it's not the scrolling format that hooks you in. Before TikTok came out with that, Instagram had videos and we couldn't scroll between them. It is how the video starts and how it ends. So it grabs you in. And honestly, if you're questioning it, go and look at TikTok. The best videos, the ones that get you to stop, will probably start almost mid-sentence. They won't say like, "Hi, I'm going to talk to you today about marketing for learning." They'll start with, "And this is how you engage your audience with your learning content." It's things like that that we need to mimic in our videos. Because if you're thinking about your intranet, it's a great example typically. It's typically a lot of articles, a lot of text heavy content. If you've got a video in there and it's maybe auto playing, but even if it's not and it's got a holding screen that looks quite compelling, people's natural curiosity is going to be to click on it. And if you hook them in the first few seconds, they're going to continue. You then want at the end to almost mimic that hook again, but get them to want to go to the learning. So get them to do the thing you want them to do. So it's about how we actually format our videos rather than the actual scrolling. The scrolling is TikTok's way of keeping us on TikTok forever.
Fantastic. I know we have some more questions, but it is the last minute. So for anyone, you can scan the QRs here. You can send an email to me directly if you have any questions about Powtoon. I'm sure Hannah will be happy for you to contact her too.
Yeah.
And yeah, feel free to reach out. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much, Hannah. Thank you, Casey. And
Thank you, guys.
take care, everyone.
I've just put my email address in the chat as well for everybody that's logging off. If anyone needs it, feel free to drop me a message.
Brilliant.
Yes, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Gilad and Hannah. Thank you so much for your expertise, and thank you everyone in the chat. We had a lot of knowledge sharing happening in the chat, which is always wonderful to see. Like I said at the beginning, I will be emailing a link of this recording to everyone who registered. So if you missed anything, you want to watch it again, which I think I might. Look out for that email coming early next week. Okay. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much, Casey. Thank you, guys.
Hello, everyone.